The world of animation is upside down with the amount of announcements happening lately. But are you up to date on all the productions that will be released starting in 2026?
No! Okay.
I don't know if you're living under a rock or if your internet doesn't work properly, but if you don't know that Kpop Demon Hunters is the biggest blockbuster of the year, then you need to catch up. The movie about the trio of K-pop singers who fight demons is such a gigantic global sensation that many people are considering it the first mega hit since the release of the first Frozen movie. And man, that comparison makes a lot of sense, because I'm even seeing people who would never watch this kind of movie with the song stuck in their heads after watching the Huntrix's adventures. And with a success like that, it's obvious they're going to make more, right? A lot was left unresolved in the first movie. Like who Rumi's mother was, who the demon was that she fell in love with, and who ended up creating the half-celestial, half-demon singer. Here on the channel, we came up with the theory that Rumi's mother fell in love with King Yama, who is basically the strongest demon of them all, known as the Demon King in the underworld of Korean mythology. That would be really awesome to see, and it would explain why Celine creates so much mystery around this subject. And the coolest part is that this could be totally connected with Jinu, who sacrificed himself at the end of the first movie and will probably have his soul judged by the 10 lords of the underworld. Maybe he'll receive some kind of trial to prove himself worthy of a second chance, and that's when we'll finally get the kiss scene between him and Rumi that was cut from the first movie. But that's just the first release coming up, and we have a lot more to show you. So grab a giant bucket of popcorn, subscribe to the channel because another episode of Zigzag is starting now. And to continue with our direct sequels, Nick and Judy are back in a new adventure in the city of Zootopia, where this time the problems are spreading to unknown areas of the great animal city. Man, this movie looks like it's going to have everything. It has adventure, it has comedy, it has mystery, it has action, brawls, and even all kinds of animals that we thought didn't even exist in this city because of the limitations of the first movie. If you liked Zootopia, get ready to have everything you enjoyed multiplied to the "you've got to be kidding me" level. Because man, just from watching the trailer, I'm already hyped. And what about you? The idea of the movie here is that there's a suspect of a crime who wasn't mentioned in the trailer. So that's still a mystery we'll only find out by watching the movie. But this suspect is none other than a snake, and that's very important to the lore of Zootopia. If you're wondering why, the answer is simple. There are no reptiles in Zootopia, only mammals. But then how did this creature end up there? Where did it come from? What is it doing? There are so many questions that I just want someone to give me the answer already. But at the same time, I don't want spoilers, because that ruins the movie for me. And speaking of spoilers, the next movie is so mysterious that it's impossible to fall into that trap. Check this out. Did you like The Incredibles too? Well, a lot of people didn't. That's why it's quite a striking surprise to see that Disney recently confirmed that the third movie is in production. I personally found the movie pretty funny, but many people didn't like seeing Elastigirl saving the day while Mr. Incredible stayed at home taking care of the kids. People were even calling the movie woke because of that. And many consider it to be the worst Pixar movie, which I think is an exaggeration, since there are movies like Lightyear to prove that it's always possible to sink even lower. But if The Incredibles has a chance at redemption to bring a new, exciting story that involves the whole family like the first movie did, that redemption has a name, and it's Jack Jack. In the second movie, we have that wonderful scene, which I think everyone can agree is good, of Jack Jack fighting against a raccoon. In that scene, we see how this little guy is extremely powerful and has very important potential, both for good and for evil. In the second movie, the fight was to legalize superheroes again. And in the third, it could be a fight to prove that Jack Jack is not a threat or a possible disastrous villain in the making. That would put the whole Incredible family back on equal footing to protect their youngest. Would you like to see a story like that? Then type the hashtag JackJack in the comments so we know what you think. Do you like mafia stories? Then the next announcement is going to sweep you off your feet because we're going back to the world of Luca. Well, hold on, not necessarily. It's not a sequel or a spin-off, but it is another movie that takes place in Italy and is made by the same director. The movie is called Gatto, and it will tell the story of a little black cat named Nero who hates water and lives right in Venice. This little cat is in debt with the local mafia and needs to carry out a risky job to raise some money when he makes an unexpected friendship with a street musician. As you can see, the art style of the movie seems to be entirely hand-drawn, and man, that's it. There's not much more to say about this movie at the moment, and I know you're going to recognize this one because you're probably asking yourself the same thing I am right now. Toy Story 5? Is this for real? Yeah, guys, it seems like Disney doesn't know when to quit and is going to keep making the franchise that should have ended with the third movie, and then should have ended with the fourth movie, and that will probably end with the fifth movie. But we know it's not going to end, and that Tom Hanks will have to keep voicing the cowboy doll even after his death with an AI that will steal his voice and performance, so Walt Disney's frozen head can keep profiting from this franchise. At the end of Toy Story 4, we saw Woody saying goodbye to his friends to live as a lost toy alongside Bo Peep, helping other toys find children. Meanwhile, Buzz and the others stayed with Bonnie. So, what would be the hook for a fifth movie? The theory is that the story will revolve around a reunion of the two worlds, Woody living his new life away from Bonnie, and Bonnie's toys dealing with the fact that the girl doesn't pay as much attention to them as she did at the beginning. This could become the big conflict, toys trying to understand their purpose when they are no longer loved or remembered. Sound familiar? Because it does. We've already seen this story. We've already seen all these cycles. And another theory is that to try to finally close this cycle once and for all, the toys would somehow end up back at Andy's house, who would now be an adult with his own kids. I don't know about you, but I think that's kind of a big stretch. But hey, maybe it works, right? But I do know something that works really well: the subscribe button. Shall we test it? Click on it to become a subscriber. And don't forget to hit the bell too, so you can know everything about your favorite cartoons before your friends do. But now, unlike the other movies on this list, Hoppers promises to do something extremely rare these days: tell an original story. I know, that's very strange to imagine, especially coming from Disney, but it's true. Hoppers will tell the story of a girl who comes across an innovative technology capable of transferring her mind into the body of an animal, in a way that makes her able to understand what the animals are saying. Well, if you stop to think about it, it's not such an original idea after all, since in the teaser itself they make the joke that this is literally the same thing as the Avatar movies. And I'm referring to the blue aliens, not the airbender. This movie has the potential to be something fun, because so far no production controversy has gone viral like it did with Elio, for example. And there's another positive point that makes us more excited. It's the same team that made Inside Out 2, which was one of the few Pixar hits in recent years. So that alone is enough for me to think, okay, maybe I can give it a chance. I've been kind of tired of these Pixar movies and animations in general, and you? Do you think the studios are going to start wising up again? Or will it keep going the same way for another whole generation? And the last movie on the list is another one of those mysterious projects that Disney comes out with, shows the title, some random concept art, and then flies off into the horizon without saying anything else. The movie is called Hexed, and follows the story of a clumsy teenager and his super organized mom who discover that what makes the boy strange is actually a latent magic. And this leads them into a secret world where magic runs wild. From the concept art, it looks like the movie is going to be very colorful and full of care put into the visual side. But we'll have to see if that same care will be poured into the story of the movie, right? Because it's no use if a movie looks beautiful but has a meh story. Do you agree? Which of these movies got you the most excited? Tell me, I want to know.